Hello, everybody, and welcome to the JDE Talks webinar. I would like to welcome you, everybody, and hear us. With us today is Nicole Clark. Nicole Clark is a former CIO of Granite Rock, and happily she joined Broadpin and now being the Center of Excellence lead in North America. Welcome, Nicole. My name is Serge Deslover. I'm a team manager at Broadpin in Europe. And together we will guide you through this webinar. As you all know, JDE Talks is a series of webinars focused on JDE products and solutions. And today we will update you about the Oracle Quest Blueprint 4D, which was held 4 to 7 May in Dallas. And for the people who could not attend, here are some pictures. You missed something. Great event, great information, great people. And I like to encourage you, if you did not yet, please sign up for InFocus, which is 21 and 20 till 23rd of September in Denver, because there we will be again, and there will be tons and tons of information there. As you see in the chat, if you have any questions or whatever about the content that we are going to present to you, please feel free to put your question in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer them during or after the webinar. Up to you. We are there to help you with everything you would like. And yeah, that's what it is. I give it to you, Nicole. Welcome to Broadpin and welcome to the audience.
Thank you, Serge. I'm very happy to be here and to be at Broadpin and to be here on JDE Talks, my first episode of JDE Talks. And I'm excited about our topic today. It was a great time at Blueprint. It was my first Blueprint in a few years, and Serge and I got to be there together and do a panel together. And so today we want to talk about a few of the big announcements. This doesn't cover everything. I don't think we could cover everything from Blueprint in 1 hour, but we want to talk a little bit about the new user experience that's coming to JD Edwards, AI and JD Edwards, the honest take. This was a very hot topic, as it is everywhere. Some information about enterprise automation and extensibility. Some very important information for some of you about platform lifecycle changes, some sunsets to some different platforms, and readiness and adoption for continuous innovation.
Cool. And one of the topics that's popping up, Nicole, what we had also during Blueprint, and now it's instead, is JD Edwards standing still? Is there still movement going on and that kind of things? So I'd like to give you the floor to answer that one and to make that clear to everybody.
Yes, JDE is not standing still. And I think for all of you who are engaged in the JD Edwards community, I think this is something you're well aware of. However, not everyone within your organization or your executive team may have this same understanding. And so it's really important to have some of these key facts and figures and numbers. JDE is running on a continuous innovation model now. It's same as your other modern cloud applications. There's a steady stream of updates every single year, not just one big release that you take on every few years. And there's a big volume of enhancements, new features and functionality, major functionality gains in the digital platform space. And it's just increasing. This is not slowing down. I know every year we expect the announcement, which we got this year. You know, JDE is supported through 2037, but it's not just life support. It is real enhancements, real new functionality coming. And this is just, as I said, this mirrors the way that a modern cloud or SaaS application works, where you're getting new updates in those systems even monthly. And you have to take them. It's not, you only have a short window where you can delay taking those updates. So we need to treat JD Edwards the same way. the longer you go without taking these updates, the harder it's going to be to catch up. So you really falling behind means has a bigger impact now than ever before. You're really leaving value on the table every quarter you don't update.
You're really approaching JDE AdWords as a SaaS concept. So you take your updates, and I must say, a lot of customers they are really surprised of the new functionalities and the functionalities in general that JDE AdWords has to offer, which is continuously moving on. Having said that, Nicole, one of the most visible changes is the interface, right, on JDE. What about that one? What's happening there?
Well, this is really exciting because it's not just a matter of look and feel, but coming in a release near you soon, planned. So giving a safe harbor. This is information that was shared with everyone from Oracle, but it is still a planned feature. The Oracle Redwood design, which is the user interface that Oracle released a few years ago to all of its cloud applications, is coming to JDE Edwards. This gives us consistency, and it gives one familiar modern experience across all of the Oracle portfolio. And this is really, some people can say, well, what's the big deal about user interface? The expectations of your user community are that the systems they use at work are going to be as efficient, as effective, are going to learn from them and evolve just like the applications on their phone do. And when they're stuck using systems that don't have that same modern look and feel, there's going to be friction. There's going to be less efficiency in what they're doing. And that's really the design behind Redwood, is this being more intuitive, easier to use, higher, that's going to result in higher adoption and be more efficient and effective. And this is all building on the things that have already been coming into the user interface: configurable E1 pages, role-based landing pages. Now it'll really have that unified look and feel. And this is expected in the next big release. But as I said, this is planned, so we'll need to get the actual confirmation from Oracle when it is ready to release.
Yeah. No, it's interesting what you say, because during Blueprint, we gave a presentation there as Broadpin where we showed JDE Edwards in the hybrid world, and you can imagine that the user interface being one helps dramatically in understanding your end user working with one system. They don't need to go and move around in things, which is the adaptation. It's massive. It will be much easier on that part. Having said that, that's the part what people see. But going to the next one, we talk about what JDE Edwards can do, and there's the magical word AI. We had a webinar there. Oh, sorry, we had a session there, which was very well visited by almost, I don't know, I never saw so many people in one room, because there we explained, look, in every session at Blueprint, the AI word was mentioned. And if it was not mentioned in the first sentence, for sure it was in the second. So what we did during that message is telling also, like, yeah, AI is nice, but what is it around it? So Nicole, a bit more on AI in JDE Edwards for the audience.
Yeah. Absolutely. I didn't do a count, but I would love to go back and do a count of how many sessions we had that were given at Blueprint that were about AI. And AI is absolutely available within JDE right now. And the ease of accessing and the ease of deploying gets better every release. The path to AI from within JDE Edwards is Orchestrator. That's going to connect you to connect your JDE environment to Oracle's OCI AI services, get you out to generative AI, large language models, go into document understanding, vision, language, and of course, AI agents, what everybody's talking about today. So you don't have to change your platform or go to a different system to get value from AI within JDE. If you've invested in Orchestrator, if you've started your journey with Orchestrator, you're already building the on-ramp to AI. The agentic, as I mentioned, the agentic direction, that is real. Orchestrations can be exposed. And in fact, what you're seeing on the screen, the little snip on the screen right now, is using a combination of orchestration, working with AI to build an actual chatbot that will not only answer your questions within JDE, but will actually perform things like, this one's a little hard to read, is going to generate a purchase order for you. And what our panel talked about is your success is really determined by the quality and completeness of your data and your context. And one without the other will not get you there. And this is true across any system, any company trying to leverage AI in their operations. It is only as good as the data and the business context you give it. The organizations that are succeeding are the ones with clean, well-structured data, which for a large portion of our JD Edwards community, your JD Edwards data is probably some of your cleanest and most well-organized data in your company. But the piece that's so important is being able to layer on the context that is going to tell AI, what does good look like? How do you make decisions? If you really want to be able to get to the level of automation that's going to bring value to your company, you've got to have that context layer and an understanding of your processes and decision. And we're going to talk a little bit about processes in the next slide. But it's really not, yes, you should be looking for those use cases, looking for those things that you can be automating, where you've got the data there, where you've got the context. Obviously, you should be identifying problems that you want to solve here, but then also pick from those. When you're picking your use cases, when you're picking these early proof of concepts, look for those places where you know your data is clean and complete, and you understand the context that those agents are going to need to use to make decisions. This is, again, purchase orders. Order management becomes something where generally we have really good rules and we have very complete data. So this is a great example of taking a supplier purchase order from a PDF and turning that into a staged order that a human can review and release. The tools are all there within JD Edwards functionality to make that happen. You've got your data coming in, and you have all of the AI tools available and accessible from within JD Edwards to create this automation process flow.
Yeah, it's like Nicole said, data is key here, and the next topic, what we have, helps you also to understand your processes, because this combination, data and processes, are key for your organization. So what we move now is towards an enterprise automation and extendability topic, and the question here is, how does JD Edwards help customers to understand and improve their processes? Because that is what you just mentioned before also, Nicole. It's the second topic after your data.
Yeah, really, this is an area that is getting so much investment, and there where I highly encourage everyone watching this to go out to learnjde.com and really read through the, and if you're a member of Quest, go back and review the things that are being posted there about what's coming in these releases. There is no way that in the time we have here, I could get into the detail on all of the pieces that are coming within the extensibility framework. And that's what Oracle calls this area of the digital platform. And it is so valuable. And yet, and a lot of these pieces like Orchestrator have been around for some time. The enterprise process modeler is newer, but these are things, a lot of these features have been around. And when I talk to different JDE customers, they're barely leveraging these things. They're barely jumping in. They're still using just whatever they set up during their last upgrade, and they really haven't explored some of these tools. Enterprise Process Modeler and the Enterprise Automation Dashboard, whether this is connected to ARI or not, these are the pieces that really get you to that context layer. That is what unlocks the power of AI, what unlocks the power and productivity that you can get from within your system, and truly gets you some of the value that you're paying for every year in JD Edwards. The Enterprise Process Modeler is going to show you metrics inside your real processes. It's going to show you undefined paths. What are the things that are actually happening in your system that are outside of your current documented processes? Because again, you know, when we're relying on humans to document those processes, which is what most of us have done for years and years and years, you're getting the parts that they understand. You're getting more emphasis on the parts that they're comfortable with. And these processes don't stand still. They continue to change as your company changes, as exceptions happen. And this is going to show you where those pieces are happening and guide that context definition, guide that automation that you want to get to. Other areas around, I mean, Orchestrator, as I said, it's 10 years old now. And it is used by, you know, over 1,000 customers now. But I have to tell you, this is the #1 topic when I'm talking. I had so many great conversations with users and different folks at Blueprint. And this is one of the area where even if you're using it, everybody's telling me, we have so many ideas. We want to be doing so much more. Or for companies that aren't using it at all, which there are still a lot of companies that have barely scratched the surface with Orchestrator. And this is where you really, as every single release, every single update that comes out, there's something that makes it easier to use, easier to update. We've got logic extensions now, notifications. You really can take the JDE as you use it now and turn it into something 10 times more powerful. And this is why that staying current concept, it used to just be get current. You know, years ago, that was one of the first things I was asked to do when I came into Granite Rock was, we got to get current. We're behind. We got to get current. So, and of course, this idea was we're going to get current and then we're going to stay current. Turns out the stay current can actually be a lot more of a challenge for organizations than the get current. Your get current, you've got this big budget, you're doing this big project, you have your big return, and everybody gets excited about it. Of course, we're going to find time to test and all these things. The stay current is a lot harder, and that's something we're going to talk about more towards the end is what are some ways to do that. But this is where we said at the beginning, every release you fall behind, you're leaving value on the table. And these areas, this extensibility framework is probably the most powerful area within JD Edwards that's going to bring the most real value, real dollars to your organization.
Yeah, that in your process optimization part, as you manage, and as you mentioned, knowing your processes and extending depends on a healthy platform, which need to be underneath, and that's the next topics. There are several announcements about platform, reaching out, end of support, and all the kind of things. What customers need to know on that specific part?
Yeah. So as we said, JD Edwards isn't going anywhere, going to be supported, actively supported through 2037. But there are a lot of folks out there that are still running on the same platforms they put in when they implemented. They're still using some of these pieces like the SOA suite for integrations that maybe they've just set and forget. Databases, all of these pieces, there were some really big announcements. One of the biggest ones is around this 32-bit piece. Now, a few years ago, I was in the situation where I was facing a platform end of life, not because of end of support, but just we had hardware, we had all these things we were running on an AS400 that needed to be updated. And looking at all of these things and knowing this was coming, we've known that the 64-bit only switch, and this is maybe one of the biggest ones on here, was coming. And so even years ago, I looked at this and I looked at the where I thought I got out my crystal ball and tried to figure out what direction Oracle was going to go through from a platform perspective. And I made the decision back then to make the move to 64-bit, move off of the AS400 hardware, which was going to be very costly for us to replace and to maintain as well. And we made the move to OCI. Obviously, you still have the power to choose. For those of us who have been around JD Edwards for a long time, we remember that phrase. You still have the power to choose. I personally, for my organization, made the decision that if I wanted to be able to have ease of management as we extended to Fusion, since we added some other tools like EPM to our JD Edwards environment, that it really made sense to move on to OCI for us. So we did that project. We moved on. We made the switch over to 64-bit, and the results for us were excellent. We gained performance. We lowered costs. And I think that's what we hear from most of our customers as well, that's generally their experience. And I think even now, that was long before, just a few years ago, was long before we knew it was coming with AI. But I think this gets you to the best path to AI within JD Edwards and the Oracle ecosphere. It also gets you to a modern integration platform that you can take advantage of, and managed infrastructure so that your team can really focus on that theme of bringing value back to your organization.
Yeah. No, it's good to have that, Bart. And hearing all of this, you mentioned your last also, the most roads they lead to OCI. We have at this moment a lot of customers, of course, talking and discussing about the cloud, the cost of cloud, where to run it, etc. This is a very fundamental and crucial discussion to have, having taken into account all the topics that you covered before. But having all these capabilities listed and all these topics are there, why aren't more customers using that power on that one? And that's where we move into the readiness and adaptation. What is the background of customers not picking it up in the speed that probably we all expected it to happen?
So this is really, and this was probably the number one conversation that I had at Blueprint was, this is all great. We want to use all this stuff. We see the value proposition, but we're behind. And the two biggest things that I see holding companies back is we've been replacing customizations and getting to vanilla and all best practices and all of those things. That's been a priority for years now, over a decade. And some companies have done that better than others. So there are definitely, in some cases, customizations that are holding companies back. But bigger than that, what I see as adding the complexity and the challenges to taking updates and staying current is around integrations and testing. No matter what, we've got all of these integrations, and for most companies, these are still, even if they've moved to APIs and a more modern integration platform for other systems, there are all these integrations that are point-to-point integrations, some SQL that's running somewhere that somebody wrote 20 years ago. And every single time having to touch those, having to test those, having to make sure you've got an environment set up, all of those pieces, they end up making every update take more and more time. And there's just concern about the risk there. Then you add to that, not only do you need to touch each of those things potentially, you also have to test them. And I don't know about our audience here, but for me, getting a user community in my organization who is already overloaded, already has more on their plate than they can do in their day-to-day jobs, to say, okay, now every quarter I'm going to need you to test everything that you do, or all of these things that were impacted, or whatever that may be. And I never wanted to go to our payroll manager and say, hi, I need some of your team to test for the next 2 weeks. And then we're going to do it again one more time. And then we're going to go I'd say that out of everything is the number one challenge that organizations face in staying current, is being able to get their users to understand what they need to test, how long they need to spend testing, and then get that time from them. And so those are really the two problems to solve. We need to in order to get to, I mean, we've talked about the capability. We haven't even gone into all of the functional application updates. There was, we could go on and on and on about what was added for finance, what was added for warehousing, what was added for distribution. There's features and functionality coming out constantly, but in order to take advantage of those, you have to be able to stay current. And so, we've got to, there's two pieces with this as well. It's, are you using everything? Are you using all of that capability in the system? And then are you staying current to take advantage of what's being added? And so that's where, I think if you're going to go through and get there, you've got to look at, what are your processes? Understand your processes, because if you want to get to the next pieces, that's your foundation. We have the process modeler, you have the object usage, which there are new features within the object usage tracking that have been released in the past couple of years that truly allow you to understand how, not just what's available through security, but how are your users using the system. And then that's going to set the foundation for removing customizations. What's out there that your users aren't actually using? What are the customizations that have now been replaced by core functionality? Where is it that we can improve our processes now that you can see them, to either remove the customization and go back to using vanilla best practice processes, or where can you use the extensibility framework and everything that's available now there to replace those customizations? And then this is the biggest piece to me, is putting a modern integration platform in place so that you have all of your integrations are visible, the performance is visible. This isn't only going to change your update ease, it's also going to, I believe, really improve the performance of your system, because I know when I looked at my managed services tickets or my help desk tickets, I have to guess that 80% of the tickets coming in were really about failures in integrations. And they were being reported by the users because we didn't have the visibility to see those happening before they did. So put a modern integration platform in place. And then we've all talked about test automation for decades, but the methods that have been available to us have required expensive third-party tools, a lot of time investment to get up and running. And then as soon as you've got them in place, they're outdated, and you got to do a bunch of updates before your next test cycle. This is where leveraging tools within JD Edwards, like the Enterprise Process Modeler and Automation Dashboard, your orchestrator, and now being able to extend out to AI, you can identify those core tests that you've got to run no matter what the update's touching, because I know for a lot of people, we can say to the business, oh no, this isn't testing, this isn't touching payroll, it's fine. But guess what? We're still going to test payroll. This isn't touching your AP checks, but guess what? We're going to still test those, because you can't afford any downtime in those areas or having to go back and fix something once you're in production. So what are those core things, those processes that are so critical? These are your critical capabilities. You're going to test them no matter what. And then use these tools to automate that testing. And this isn't to say you trust the automation on its own, but this can all be very visible to your end users where they can review the results, and you can shrink the amount of time that you're pulling end users into testing to really make it possible to stay current, to take these updates every quarter, and hopefully in the future even more often. Those are the pieces that are really going to change this gap in what's being released and us being able to take advantage of it. And figuring out what cadence is right for you then. How often, based on what's coming out, how often are you going to take an update, prepare your business for it, prepare the organization for it, and it is a calendared event. Luckily, Oracle has been very consistent in their release pattern. And so you can plan for these things, you will get the information. And this is just when we do this. We do it with a lot of our other systems, and it's time to do that with JD Edwards, because that's really what's going to unlock. It's easy sometimes to just think we invested in JD Edwards a long time ago, or whenever we made this investment. But the reality is you're spending money every year investing into this platform. The only way that you're going to see a return on that investment is if you commit to continuous adoption that's going to unleash the continuous innovation.
And I think on that one, you mentioned it, customers, you pay your maintenance costs. So you have all these upgrades, you have all these new modifications or these new functionalities in the system. And on top of that, you're mentioning the testing. And for years, I was on the consultancy side and asking your business to test something that's already working now. That's not the biggest motivation. On the other hand, if you can take every time new functionalities in new releases or whatever, and you tell your customer there, you tell your end customer, look, test it because you have some new functionality there. It's a different way. It's a different way of motivating with the help of automated testing. Yeah, that would be great. And we really see that a lot of customers are moving into that direction. They're moving developments out of the system to be able to take their updates more frequently, in order also to give something back to the customer, which, like you said, which you pay for. And that's, I think, a very crucial one.
And it is possible. I don't want to, I've talked about the majority and this and that. I talked to a couple folks at Blueprint who I was so impressed by, because they have worked through these challenges. And it is, I've talked about these things for years, honestly. And this year at Blueprint, I got to talk to a few people who have done this. They've done this and they're staying current, and they are getting the benefits. They are, they've worked with their, and even, they're just working on their test automation, but what they've done is worked very closely with their users to get their testing down to something that's so manageable that they're able to commit to and get it done. But it is out there, it is working. There are customers who have done these things and they are getting the benefit from it. They're staying current. And so on the one hand, I don't want everyone out there who's having challenges there to think they're alone. They are not alone. A lot of companies have these challenges, but it is possible, because there are some companies that are doing this. We have some customers who are doing this, and they are really getting the benefit out of it. And we just want to be able to get the whole JD Edwards community to that point, because it is doable. And it's easier now, I believe, than ever in the past because of the tools that we've gotten in the past. And I would say in the past 2 years, the things that have been released, the Oracle product team, they are listening. And that'd be another plug. Communicate through your user organizations in whatever part of the world you're in, because we do have a very responsive product team in JD, the JD Edwards product teams, and they are listening, and the things that you are seeing come out every release are there to meet these needs. And I think that's so exciting. I think the things that have come out in these areas, especially around the process modeling and automation, will make a huge difference in your day-to-day life, your company's operations, maybe bigger than anything that's ever been released in JD Edwards before. So we want to help you unlock what it takes to get all of these new features and functionality in order to get that value and really make visible changes to your operations.
Yeah. Now, and having said that, Nicole, what is, I think, crucial in this part is not only if you you can use this new functionality that JD Edwards has to offer, but specifically it creates also a cultural change inside your organization, because your end user, your customer, they feel that they have improvements, and every time more they will have a voice in that. So they will also, as an automatic system of reaction on this, they will criticize their own process and look for improvements in that phase. And imagine that these improvements just come up in the new release, or you can offer that. It's a win-win situation. And as you said, a lot of our customers, of Broadpin customers at this moment, are in that process. And it is at the beginning, it's tough, because it starts from, in fact, an IT approach, looking at your modifications and all of that. But very quickly it moves into a business approach, and that's what we see in happening everywhere, which is great in our opinion. Hey, having said that, Nicole, just 1 minute, the takeaways of today's session.
The innovation is real, and it's accelerating. It's not slowing down. It's getting faster. It's not just my opinion. Look at the roadmaps that are out there. It's accelerating. And this is completely aligned with what you'll see in cloud applications, but you've got to stay current in order to capture it. You've got 3 places to focus on right now. Look at your platform against the sunsets. Those things can be, if those things are affecting you, it can also be a great trigger to take advantage of some of these things and look broader than just those platform changes. Seriously consider OCI if you're interested in understanding if that's the platform for you. We can help you evaluate that and understand what that might look like. Look at your customization load. Where can you replace those customizations? We actually have an amazing tool that leverages AI to help you evaluate those things, and get your, speaking of AI, get your data and your processes ready so that you can start taking advantage of AI and not feel left behind in the AI race. And then lastly, learnjde.com is an excellent resource. That is where you will see the published roadmap, and we can help you identify what changes, what additions, what new features and functionality apply to your environment. So we're happy to help you learn more and see what will add value for your organization in those roadmaps.
Great. Yeah, thanks, Nicole, for that one. Let me to say that our next JDE Edwards Talks is on the 14th of September. If you subscribed already to the series, automatically you will have an invite for that. It's together with our colleagues of Height.io. where they are talking about unlocking the real-time banking in JDE Edwards via SwiftFin. Great tool. So have a listen on that one. Rest me to say to thank Nicole for her input. I really appreciate the time you had to share your things and your thoughts with us. Please, for everybody, if you have any questions or whatever, please reach out to us directly. You can do that to info@quistor.com. You also have our emails from Nicole and myself. Just reach out to us. We can help you on all the topics that you've seen before. And for now, I would like to wish you all good luck with all the topics that Nicole shared. And I hope that you can join that journey with us, without us, doesn't matter, but just as a JDE Edwards community, let's move into that direction. So thank you all. And
make it to Infocus, come find us.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you all and bye-bye.
Thank you.